Predator vs. Wolverine issue 3 is where the rubber meets the road in the Cosmic Showdown saga. We're talking about a comic that's balancing more elements than a periodic table, and it's doing it with style. First up, it's setting up the ultimate clash between Wolverine and his longtime nemesis, the Yautja. Then the issue goes back to Logan's Weapon X days, revealing the Yautja's fixation on his adamantium skeleton. But wait, there's more. We also get a trip down memory lane to Logan's days with Swordmaster Muramasa, throwing a peaceful setting into the path of an interstellar hunter. So in this video, we will explore the third issue of Predator vs. Wolverine. We have already covered the first two issues and will cover the final fourth issue when it is released next month. You may want to hit that subscribe button and stay updated. And now let's get started.
Before we go into our explanation though, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
The current state of affairs. In the last issue, we saw that Wolverine was drowning. He had nearly no way of coming back to the surface because a large piece of rock was keeping him under. On top of that, there was his adamantium skeleton that heavily increased his body density. So right now, he was trapped under 2 tons of rubble in that bottom of a river, and the Predator was sure that he had finally managed to get his perfect trophy. A trophy that was nearly indestructible. As the Predator inched closer, Wolverine appealed to his baser instincts as a hunter. Although he was being hunted, he knew he had to get out of his current situation immediately. Never one to go down easily, Wolverine used his claws to cut through the rock and rubble, as well as a part of himself to set himself free. The Predator finally reached the bloody part of the river, only to find Wolverine gone. No surprises there. Weapon X facility, the past. In the last issue, we saw how the Predator had found his way to the Weapon X facility, examining Weapon X. Well, Wolverine did not remember much about his time as Weapon X. All he remembered were flashes of memory, and to be honest, neither his body nor his mind belonged to him, and he had become just a tool and a weapon in the grand scheme of things when they zeroed him out and filled his bones with adamantium, so that he was nothing more than a blade sheeted in meat. The Predator was now examining his skeleton. He cut through the flesh to reach the shiny adamantium, perplexed at what this unique metal was. But the Predator had not seen anything like adamantium before, and was rightly amazed. They could have used the weapon to build their own tools and weapons, but all the cutting and slashing woke Weapon X up. The beast had no moral code or intelligent thought, and all he knew was how to hurt and kill. So Predator had found Wolverine in his most dangerous and yet most vulnerable state. He reached out his adamantium claws and struck them into Predator's chest. But the Predator was also a sink for punishment, and a Swiss knife of a weapon. He poured acid into Weapon X's mouth, briefly incapacitating him. Seeing Wolverine in his adamantium skeleton was any Predator's wet dream. You know, the ultimate trophy and all that. Instead of killing Wolverine outright, the Predator took him to the mothership. By now, the flesh on Wolverine's face had melted away because of the acid that the Predator had poured on him. He dropped his newest prey on the floor of the room where he kept the other trophies. The Predator ship. By now, both of our combatants were in bad shape, but things were about to get much worse. Weapon X was a joint project of the US and Canadian governments. It might have been a shadow organization, but when you've got billions of dollars sunk into a project, when you're a war machine employed by the geopolitical theater, a breach of security is a global emergency. The Canadian and the US governments did not know who or what the Yautja was, but by stealing their most expensive weapon, he had grievously pissed them off. They immediately scrambled F-16s to take care of the situation, and they gave the Predator ship a wake-up call in the form of a hardpoint. But they were forbidden from further engagement unless the strange booty tried to fly away. As would be expected, the Predator ship was on the move. The Predator took one of the F-16s down. The other was perplexed about what to do next. On the other hand, the Central Command wanted to know where exactly the Predator ship was headed. They still believed it could be the Chinese or the Russians, but they were about to learn the strangest secret from space. Schwartz, the man flying the remaining F-16, revealed that it was not going north or northeast or in any other direction on the horizontal plane. It was moving up into the sky. He was ordered to fire at will, and Schwartz fired multiple missiles targeting the ship. The ship soon found its way into space, so how did Wolverine manage to get out? I mean, we know that in the present time, he is dueling the Predator somewhere in the Canadian wilderness. Well, Weapon X found himself experiencing the Berserker Rage. What was it? Wolverine's temper and love for a good scrap had been front and center since day one. He's like that friend who's chill until someone says the wrong thing. Case in point, Old Man Logan, where he's tricked into thinking his teammates are foes, leading to a tragic bout of friendly fire. His past is more tangled than headphone cords. The whole Weapon X saga is where it all began. That's Wolverine being poked, prodded, and experimented on until he snaps like a twig, unleashing a world of hurt on his captors. So essentially, the Berserker Rage was the only emotion he knew until this experiment. He tore through the ship's hull and plunged towards Earth. Still under the influence of gravity, Wolverine found his way back, albeit not where he started. Schwartz, the F-16 pilot, noticed him coming out of the ship. So, Schwartz reported the coordinates to his central command. Wolverine had caught fire under the effect of friction from the atmosphere, so there was not much left of him, or so it seemed. Furthermore, he had managed to bring a Predator helmet along with him, which fell into the hands of Professor Thornton. He was the main weapon plus liaison to the team and also had the head scientist in charge of the operative's continuous brainwash. But Thornton used the Predator helmet to improve Weapon X, making him less feral and more sentient and stable. The terms of engagement. Comic then shifts to a time when a week before the events of the first issue, Wolverine had spent a lot of time trying to figure out his broken history. His skin might be clean of injury, but his brain was a gummed up mess of scar tissue from mind swipes and memory plants. Sometimes he would go back to places half remembered or forgotten entirely. Wolverine wanted to put an end to this age-old pattern, so he got hold of the helmet he had found so many years ago and pulled it out of its lead-covered cage, making it possible for the Predator to intercept it. He figured if he unshelled it, it would be only a matter of time before the Predator arrived again, and this time Wolverine would set the terms of their engagement. He was back in the wild north, same as the first issue, where it all started, where the only law is the law of tooth and claw. Muramasa's estate, the past. But before that part of the story continues, we get another flashback of Wolverine, this time from Muramasa's estate in Japan. But who was Muramasa? So let's quickly slice into the tale of Muramasa, the legendary, slightly unhinged swordsmith with a flair for the dramatic and the direct line to Wolverine's storied past. Muramasa was far from a run-of-the-mill blacksmith. This guy was crafting swords when immortality was still in style, and insanity was just part of the prerequisite skill set. In Japan, near Jasmine Falls, Muramasa made two swords that would etch their way into Wolverine's history. The first, known as the Black Blade, brimmed with mystical properties that would make any collector's head spin. Then there's the second Muramasa blade. Wolverine, fresh from regaining his memories, gets his hands on this legendary weapon. But Muramasa, now a captive in hell, because where else would you find a mad immortal swordsmith, is forced to forge two new swords from his own soul. But that's Muramasa's history from Marvel Comics. Let's talk about what Predator vs. Wolverine issue 3 has to offer. So, Wolverine had never known peace, but in Japan, he got right up to the edge of it. He started training under Muramasa and felt like his mind, body and earth were all connected together. Muramasa saw Wolverine as an ore full of impurities, but although it took years to remove all the impurities, the end result was worth it. Wolverine was also forbidden from using his claws because he wanted Wolverine to beat him using just his sword, so that's when the time came. He would be more skillful than a guy with super sharp claws. But Wolverine's training got interrupted. How? Well, of course, the Yojo was back to his hunt. The fourth and final issue of the series will be out next month, titled The Best There Is at What They Do. The issue will answer who gets to take the final trophy. Will Wolverine's adamantium skill join the bones of the countless others? Or will Wolverine stick his claws into the hunter's skull? Only one way to find out. Marvelous verdict. As the writer, we have Benjamin Percy, a man who doesn't just handle pressure, he bench presses it. Borrowing a trick from the X-Lives, X-Deaths of Wolverine playbook, Percy masterfully weaves through timelines, showcasing Logan's ongoing tussle with the Yautja. Wolverine's past has been riddled with roles of a spy, samurai, superhero, you name it, and Percy uses every tool to carve out this story. The art team is nothing short of a tag team of visual storytellers. Ken Lashley tackles the present, dishing out panels that zoom in on a waterlogged yet divine Wolverine. Hayden Sherman goes full throttle on the Weapon X sequence, pushing boundaries in the best way possible. Kei Zama takes us through the Muramasa era with a dance of deadly elegance. And let's not forget colorists Juan Fernandez and Alex Guimaraes, who paint the scenes in shades of rust red and neon green, a nod to the blood of the fighters. But like a meal that leaves you wanting just a bit more dessert, this issue feels like it could use a few extra pages. It's a bit light compared to the previous issues' deep dives into T-Max and young Logan. Still, Predator vs. Wolverine #3 lays the groundwork for a finale that promises to be anything but dark. And with one issue left, one can only hope that this isn't the last time we see the Predator locking horns with Marvel's finest. The Yautjas, two of you all, could always use more marvelous heroes and villains, right?
And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.